Hey guys, it's Dr. Matt. We're doing a new little thing. We're doing a little Facebook Live to introduce you guys to St. John's Nutrition and to myself and Deborah and what we're doing with St. John's Nutrition and what we're doing with our company, what we're doing with our mission statement, and basically a little history about us. And I'm not going to get too hung up on our history. A lot of people that are watching this know about my past maybe, or my involvement in natural health, but some don't. So for those, I'm going to kind of get a little information. I'm 42 years old, and I can tell you I feel better than I did at 32, and I feel better than I did at 22, and so that's a good thing. But back when I was 15 years old, right about to turn 16 years old, I found myself in a very poor state of health. In my life, I was I consider myself one of the most healthy children that was around or that I knew. Very unhealthy, had a lot of pulmonary problems, a lot of respiratory problems, and I had a lot of issues that sort of plagued my health, along with being overweight and very inactive. And that basically was the result of this dangerous thing that my family had called decent health insurance, meaning that every time that I was sick, every time that I had a sniffle or a sneeze, every time that I had a cold, I was rushed to the doctor and promptly placed on an antibiotic or some sort of invasive medication that obviously may have helped with the current issue or current problem, but later, of course, contributed to a lot of other issues. When I was born, my mother was told that it was not very important to nurse, that formula would be better than breast milk, and so with that said, I was basically born without the amount of friendly bacterium, the immune system that I needed to have, just like a lot of people in my generation. As years passed and I grew up on a Taco Bell / Pizza Hut type of diet, fast food and chips and Doritos and steady flow of Golden Flake and Frito-Lay. My dad was in the grocery business. I found myself to be overweight, very unhealthy, with a lot of problems. I want you guys also, as I'm doing this, to comment. Let us know where you're from, if you're listening, any particular issues or questions that you have while we're doing this. You can start saying those on the Facebook Live, and we'll address those as best we can, or we'll reference them for a future show or a future Facebook Live. And so that's one of the things that we want to do and share in this particular quick little intro into St. John's. So getting back to my health, right before I turned 16, I had a life-changing moment, very incredible spiritual moment, and it left me with a list, sort of a pad like this, and on the left side I wrote down things that I needed to change, or things that needed to be changed in my life. And strangely enough, I really wasn't very concerned about my health. I don't know of many 15-year-old 16-year-olds that are overly concerned about their health unless they're unable to function. But for whatever reason, the first thing I wrote was get healthy. And this is coming from a guy who had never even been inside a gym any longer than I had to be. Certainly never had worked out in one. I was in music, and that was sort of my life. But I was, at that point, obsessed with wellness, with mental wellness, with my grades, my life, with my physical wellness, to not be sick, to where I can enjoy the outdoors, and my spiritual wellness as well. So those are all vital to me at that point finally, and I just started going down the list. I didn't have access to a gym easily, and I was a teenager, so I saved up and bought a pair of running shoes. And then as soon as I turned 16 years old, the first day that I received my little car, my little old vintage Mustang, I went out and saw Tommy Bass. Tommy Bass, here's a book written on Tommy by a good friend of mine, Daryl Patton, and here's another book that was written by someone who is not my friend. But anyway, Tommy was actually the subject of probably about 5 or 6, actually about 8 books now, and he lived just over in Leesburg, Alabama. This was like 15-20 minutes down from where I went to school. My teachers let me cut class a little early, and so I could sneak out there and see Tommy. And as I pulled up to his house in my orange, well, they call it poppy red, but that was the color code from Ford. But on my little old Mustang, it was orange, and it wasn't the color that I would have picked. But since it was the original paint, I was happy to have it. And when I pulled up, I remember Tommy kind of coming out of his house or off his back porch, and he told me, he said, "Well, I've never seen an orange car before." And I said, and I was a little sensitive about the fact that it was orange, and I said, "Well, Ford calls it poppy red." And he said, well, fella, where I'm from, that's orange. And that was the first comment that Tommy made to me. From that point on, it's like time stood still. Unfortunately, it didn't, because it got dark and I had to explain to my parents where I was. But I just sat and talked with Tommy for hours and hours on end. And he absolutely just charmed me with his incredible knowledge. Also, he was just an incredible Christian Southern gentleman. And from my time that I spent with him, I would go and visit Tommy at least weekly. A lot of times, 2 or 3 times a week, I'd go to see him. And he just taught me about natural medicine. He taught me about life and a lot of other things that still stick with me to this day. And from that point, through people like Daryl Patton, who once again authored, to me, the best book on Tommy that was ever written, and others who've mentored me since then, Tommy was the most important initial introduction into natural medicine and into wellness that I'd ever had. During the summer, between the time that I was 16 or 15 and 16, for about 3 months, I worked really hard. I worked diligently, and I lost 80 pounds. I started having a complete remission of my pulmonary issues. I'd had pneumonia 2 or 3 times, actually I think 4 times, and I'd had multiple respiratory problems, bronchitis, sinus infections, ear infections, and of course a terrible diet on top of that. And I started to research my body. I started to research natural medicine. I started to research exercise physiology. I started to take supplements. Well, the story goes is that I took so many supplements that I needed a discount on them. So I eventually started working at the health food store because I needed a discount on my supplements. Then, as time went on, I went from one store kind of to another and took a better position. Then I started college and started St. John's Nutrition while I was in college to help offer natural products to other people and to teach people about wellness and health. And from that point, we've been all over the Southeast. We've had, I think, about 13 different health food stores, and our primary location and office is here in Oxford, Alabama. And we've sort of diversified into several different things. The primary thing being St. John's Nutrition as our supplement company, and that's been just such an incredible blessing. Today, I wear many hats. I've had patients today. I've had people come in and see me at our retail store. I've dealt with our herb company. I've actually had my hands on equipment and worked in our herb company along with other employees that we have doing that. And so we've had a great day today. That's sort of an example of my life, I guess, just in general. And another example of that is that my children have all been with me today, along with Deborah, my wife, and we've had a great day of homeschooling the kids while working, while helping others, and while serving our community and our patients and people. And it's been a wonderful thing. Our product line at St. John's Nutrition is actually quite extensive. However, we're launching on our website and professionally launching formulas very carefully. We're hand selecting products that fill gaps and that fill needs in people's lives right now. If you look at our product line, you can see sort of a part of our vision about what we're offering and what we're doing. It's very important. Up here we have sort of our product line that we currently have, I think, minus 1 or 2 products, and we're adding products every month. So as we add products, I hate to even talk about all the products that we have now as if they're the beginning and the end, because there are already things that we don't even have here that we offer, have offered for years, but this is just, we're coming on our website and so forth. But we have things that are important as far as a foundation for people, such as the Ultimate Probiotic. Now, the Ultimate Probiotic is literally a product that has, for me, changed my life more than any other. Probiotics are very important. I mentioned that I didn't nurse as a child. I mentioned that I had a poor diet. As a result of that poor diet and as a result of not nursing, I didn't have the amount of beneficial bacteria in my lower GI tract to properly fuel my immune system, or to provide for my immune system a strong immunity. And once I started taking probiotics, to this day I still say this is my most important supplement. This is the most important thing for me that I can take as a dietary supplement, is a probiotic. And that's because probiotics, in my particular case, are definitely the beginning and the foundation of my immune system. If I take a probiotic, I don't get sick. If I don't take my probiotic, I just might do that. So that's one of the first things that I want people to understand, is the need for a probiotic, not only with your digestion and to help promote healthy assimilation of nutrients, but also to help with your immune system, to help with your brain, and to help, literally they're showing clinically that not only does it provide for a beneficial flora, will provide for your immune system and to strengthen your immunity, strengthen your T cells, increase your T cells, strengthen your killer cell activity in your body, which fights against everything from bacterium to tumors. But also it helps with your brain. It helps with things like depression, helps with your focus and your mental clarity. And so I just want people to understand that unless you're daily eating 2 or 3 servings of yogurt, unless you're having kefir, if you're eating fermented foods, which you find mostly in Asian cuisine, you're not getting the right amount of friendly bacteria. I think we have a question that just popped up.
Can you give Ultimate Probiotics to kids?
Yes, as long as the child can swallow a capsule. Now, these capsules are enteric coated, which means that they're designed to bypass the stomach and the stomach acids and to be absorbed down in the lower GI tract where they need to be absorbed. You can open the capsules for very small children and use the probiotics. You won't get the enteric coated delivery system, but you'll still get the probiotics delivered to their gastrointestinal system, still helping with their immune system and so forth. So absolutely, and it's safe for children, and it's also, of course, safe for us adults and very necessary. Still sort of in the arena of foundational wellness, Happy Now. Now, technically, this is the first product that we released in the St. John's line, and I think the main reason that we did that was because it works so well. We have a lot of people taking Happy Now throughout the world, and Happy Now is a very interesting, very unique blend of botanicals and amino acids that help with not only cases of mild to moderate depression and with anxiety and that sort of thing, but also with just general mood support. It was about 20 years ago that we first offered Happy Now, and I formulated Happy Now based on a Tommy Bass formulation that he had passed on to me. Since that time, we modified it about 5 years ago, and it's wonderful. It absolutely helps with anyone who's dealing with problems with stress, anxiety. You know what's interesting is I have a lot of women that will take Happy Now and they'll sneak it to their husbands. But us guys need to figure out that there's more wrong with us than just low testosterone. Our serotonin and dopamine and our minds, how they work and how they operate, are integral to how we perform as men, and just what we're able to get done and what we're able to accomplish. Taking Happy Now has made a huge difference in my life personally, in just sort of helping with these 4 little girls that I have to raise, and helping with the businesses that we have, and being married and doing all the things that we do as humans. But it just makes a big difference in my I guess my balance, more so than anything. And if you want to have a better balance in a very safe way, there's nothing in Happy Now that'll stimulate you or make you feel strange or peculiar, and that's the reason that formulation has done so well. I could go on and on about it, and I will later in another video, but that's more or less one of our foundational products. And then recently we've had a big issue with immunity and the flu. Influenza is a terrible issue, it's a terrible virus. Seems like between the controversy and the confusion about flu shots and vaccinations, as well as what works, we want people to understand that there are alternatives that do have good clinical research that can help us. And in particular with elderberry, there was a very exciting study that was actually conducted about 2 years ago. It became popular this year, the study did. Interestingly enough, the study, of course, was done by a drug company, and interestingly enough, it became popular right before the flu season, one of the worst flu seasons that we've had in the history of the country. But elderberry was shown to significantly decrease the duration of the flu in those in the study that had the flu, and it helped prevent the flu, up to 30 times greater protection against the flu for those who were taking it prior to being exposed to the flu virus. So, and multiple strains as well. Elderberry is safe, it's inexpensive, it works well, and our elderberry is a strong one. It's 4 ounces in a bottle, and it is 2,500 milligrams per teaspoon, rather than the standard 500 milligrams that you see so often. So elderberry is wonderful, something that we have very reasonably priced. We never mark our elderberry up either, and so that's very important. Our wild oregano, P73 oregano, is the Mediterranean form of oregano oil that's safe to be ingested internally and actually recommended to be taken internally. Now, oregano is exciting because it's a very potent antiviral and it works very quickly. Now, as a naturopathic doctor, which by the way, part of my history between now and the time that I initially was turned on to natural medicine, I've taken multiple courses and received herbalist certificates and titles, but it all came down to where I finally got my doctorate in naturopathic medicine a few years ago. And since that time, as a naturopathic doctor, we have just submerged ourselves in the research of natural medicine and how we can effectively help people with natural remedies rather than synthetic medications. And trust me, we understand at St. John's Nutrition that there's a time and that there's a place for strong and sometimes invasive medications with side effects. There's a time and a place. If I were to leave here and have a car accident, Lord forbid, then I don't know that the first thing that I would want is a bottle of probiotics. I would want good surgeons and good hospital staff and possibly even strong painkillers if the need be for myself and my family. Mm-hmm. However, using natural remedies and natural products and what God put on this earth for us to use as our first line of defense and our first line of offense against bacterium and viruses and other problems is the best way to go for optimal health. Then when they don't work, when your body fails or when natural medicine fails, at that point invasive medicines can be something to look at. In the case of something like oregano oil, we find that this works many times in cases where people were absolutely certain that there was no way that they were going to get better, that they were not going to get well, and oregano put them over the edge, so to speak, and they were able to get better in a strong and very fast way. For us, this is our go-to. When the kids start feeling bad, when we start getting swollen lymph nodes and we start feeling bad, we'll hop on the elderberry and the oregano is super strong. Not the best tasting stuff in the world. Ours is very mild. It's actually a base of hemp oil rather than olive oil that's previously been used by other companies, but it's tremendous and works extremely well. Now, I'm going to move on because I think we have just a certain amount of time. We also offer at this time at St. John's Nutrition hemp-derived CBD oil. Now, this is derived entirely from hemp. It's legal in 50 states. CBD oil has tons of research, not only for seizures and epilepsy, as a lot of people have of course heard, but also for things like anxiety, for stress, for wound healing, for inflammation, for pain. There's a lot of clinical evidence that shows that CBD is a very effective supplement, or a very effective ingredient that we can extract and help a lot of people. Even children with ADHD are taking it and doing very well. So we want people to understand that our CBD is European Union derived, from 100% from hemp. It's 1,500 milligrams per bottle. It's very reasonably priced. We don't mark up our products at St. John's astronomically. We don't do that because I see that in the industry quite often, where just because something's new or just because something's popular, they'll mark the price up 400 or 500 times what it should actually cost. And a lot of other companies that do direct marketing or do network type marketing, they'll oftentimes raise the prices of their products to compensate for issuing checks and that sort of thing to salespeople. At St. John's, we believe, number one, in quality, and number two, in things that work, number three, things that are economical and affordable to people to be able to purchase and use on a regular basis. And then we also have our Metabolic. Now, Metabolic is exciting to me because this is very similar. Some folks will know what I'm talking about, some folks won't. This is very similar to our old school ephedra type products like Rip Fuel, Diet Fuel, Metabolic, Thermolift. Now it uses a type of ephedra that's legal and that's very safe called Brigham tea extract, but it's the extraction process of the Brigham tea that's very important. So we have actually a 3-tiered blend in this. That's a fat burning blend, a brain chemistry blend, and a balanced blend. Balance, we're talking about hormonal balance. Being able to balance the endocrine system is key and imperative to weight loss. There's so many people that have tried to lose weight. They've gone on weight loss products before. It revved them up and made them nervous, and it was overly stimulated them. They had to discontinue it, or they just didn't work. The problem is that in weight loss and dealing with weight loss, you can have a perfect diet and you can have a perfect exercise program, and if your hormones are not balanced and balanced in a very good balanced way, then your thyroid, your adrenals, your hypothalamus, your pituitary, if your body is not balanced hormonally, you can't lose weight, or you certainly can't lose weight for a long period of time or consistently or keep it off. That's what Metabolic is designed to do, to be able to help in cases of sticky weight, sticky fat, fat that's very difficult to get rid of. For a lot of people, the last 5 or 10 pounds is almost impossible to get rid of, especially as they age. But this formula addresses every bit of it, not only through burning fat and through helping with your mental acuity and sort of the way that you mentally think about food and eating, and also and the cravings for food as well, carbohydrates in particular. But it also helps tremendously with the hormone balancing effect, which is imperative to true weight loss and for long-term weight loss. That's a great product. Pain Ease. This one's wonderful. Now this one has just recently been released. We've had it around for a while. It's a combination of botanicals that not only help with inflammation and pain from that direction, but it also helps a lot with people who have been on prescription painkillers for long periods of time. Pain Ease is designed for people who want to avoid painkillers or who are taking strong prescription painkillers and want to come off of them. So Pain Ease is a combination of things like lobelia, or with the lobeline, passion flower, bromelain, nutmeg, kava, gaba, wild lettuce. Those in the natural health field just heard what I said and thought, wow, that's a combination. And it really is. And it's a great product. We have people taking this already all over the country and having incredible results with it. And Pain Ease is a nice, safe alternative to prescriptions that can leave you very addicted and even in rehab clinics for the rest of your life. Once again, nothing on this video or nothing that we do or that we're saying is intended to treat, cure, or diagnose. We're not offering medical advice, and these are not drugs. These are supplements. These are dietary supplements with potent and effective ways for the constituents that are in them to work in your body and through basically helping your body heal itself. Very potent supplements. That's the one thing that we want to focus on. Like I said, number 2 is that things work for St. John's Nutrition. We need things that work well for people and that are safe. And that's not always easy to do in the dietary supplement field because there are so many companies out there that are offering up products that simply just do not work and are nothing but placebos. Now on to another couple of products here. We have B17. B17, there's a very long story behind this one, but the very long story short is that this is derived from apricot kernel extract. There's a lot of research right now that shows the incredible immuno-enhancing effect of apricot kernels and their effects on abnormal tissue growth. Now we have to be careful about saying the word cancer, because cancer is something that all of the drug companies and all of the medical boards and the FDA and so forth are always looking for with dietary supplements, because we start making claims for cancer, then they want to put us out of business and they want to take it off the market. You will find nothing more controversial as far as a dietary supplement than B17. And the reason for its controversy is a little questionable, because there have been actually no studies, nothing that's ever conclusively shown any toxicity whatsoever in any human dealing with B17 or Laetrile. But at the same time, they are constantly pushing for companies not to sell B17, and a lot of people theorize that the reason for that is because of the effectiveness of B17 combined with the fact that it is keeping a lot of people cancer-free at this stage in their life, or at whatever stage in their life, and that's pretty amazing stuff. We advise you to speak to your physician that you trust, who is knowledgeable about nutrition, about wellness. Speak to them about any of our products, and make sure that if they have any questions, for them to call, email, or write to us, and we'll address it. Eventually it'll get to me, and I'll address it directly with them, and we'll be able to. We'd love to be able to help them to decide about products that you should be taking or shouldn't be taking. All of our products have been proven to be safe over time. We're very careful about what we do, and we love what we do. Iodine. I could go on for an hour about iodine. There are so many people. Think about how many people you yourself, or even you personally, know, or that you, in dealing with yourself, that has thyroid disease, whether it be hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism, any type of the problems that people have with their thyroids that are autoimmune diseases that people, it's like, where did this come from? 30, 40 years ago, you rarely heard about people having thyroid disease. They might have a little hypothyroidism, but it wasn't to any significant degree. Well, there's so much accumulated environmental toxicity. There's so much controversy about where it comes from, how much we're getting, and then also what effect it's having on our thyroid gland. Our thyroid glands are very small. They're very important. They not only help with metabolism and a variety of other functions, they help with our cardiovascular function. They help to regulate our body, and whether it be from our brain, our hypothalamus, to our heart, our cardiovascular system, our thyroids are imperative for good health. Many people are having thyroid surgeries, they're having goiters, they're having all these various thyroid problems, and all they ever needed was a really good, consistent iodine supplement. And our iodine comes, it has molecular iodine, sodium iodine, potassium iodine, and then it's in a really neat blend of bladderwrack and kelp. It comes, so you're getting your different forms of iodine that your body needs, and it's derived 100% from natural sources, and it's actually in a base of some of our best sources for iodine that we can get, which would be kelp and bladderwrack. This product works very well. It works well for people who are sensitive to taking high doses of kelp or bladderwrack. It works very well and very effectively. These are what we have so far. There are others that are coming. I think we have one coming out by the end of the week. We have other products that will be coming out by the end of this month. We're very excited at St. John's Nutrition about you, about your health, about what we're going to do together to help your health. And this little page that we have, our group, is going to grow. We invite you to hit the like button if you've ever, if you basically have had any issue similar to what we've talked about on this particular on this little episode, we'll call it, then hit the like button. If you have any questions, feel free, even after this is posted, to write those questions in the video itself, and we'll address those questions right under the video as we go and as we are able to have time to do so. And also, anything that you would like to hear about or hear me discuss or talk about in detail in the future, we would love to hear from you in the group. And you could post that right here with this particular recording that we're about to put up. So thanks for tuning in. I'm not going to make this long-winded. I don't want to have people running every time they see us doing the Facebook Live, because they don't want to hear me. They don't hear me talk for an hour at a time. If you have any questions whatsoever, be sure to place them on this particular post, and we'd love to answer them and help you.
Everything's available in the store also.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. All the products that we mentioned are available in our retail store in Oxford, Alabama, as well, of course, online at www.stjohnsnutrition.net.